You are being lied to.
Hi, I'm Mark Cerny. I'm excited to be here to talk about the newest addition to our console lineup. Creators have made amazing use of the hardware capabilities, but when I talk to them, I do hear about their desire for more graphics performance and an AI library called PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution, or PSSR for short. Here's The Last of Us Part 2 running on PS5 Pro. Let's compare this to the fidelity mode on PS5. We can see that PS5 Pro is close to doubling the power. Simply put, it's the most powerful console we've ever built.
I know it's not an unpopular opinion, but the PS5 Pro is by far one of the most blatant scams I've ever seen from a console manufacturer, and I was around during the Soulja Boy days. What the f was he on for that? At least other systems that could be seen as lesser quality didn't boast about its highlights in such a deceiving manner, and did offer something for people if they felt the need to upgrade. However, in the case of the PlayStation 5 Professional Edition, I think it's safe to say that without a shadow of a doubt that this thing is a scam that people will inevitably fall for.
Are you people? Because if you are, please understand that if you are considering getting this console, by no means do I think you are dumb. However, please take a step back and consider the following as to why this might not be worth your time and money, as I and many other people believe that this is a total blatant scam.
For starters, the PS5 base model is already made for high-res gaming. What's the Pro gonna even improve? There was 8K gaming on the box for the PS5 when it first came out, and it turns out that even this was a half lie. The PS5 can run games at 8K downsampled to 4K, and sure, it makes the PS5 remasters of PS4 remastered PS3 games look a bit sharper, but there is no way to view that actual 8K rendering since the PS5 doesn't have an 8K output. I mean, sure, I might have said on my Tinder profile that I'm 6 feet when I'm only 4'11", but it's not impossible for me to reach that height. Plus, the only games that take advantage of that 8K downsampling is The Tourist, and that's the only one, and it doesn't even have a crazy benefit to using it.
It's like having one less level to 20/20 vision. Sure, putting on glasses can make things sharper, but I could already see without them anyway. It's really not needed.
But didn't you crash a car into a building without your glasses?
Computer, that was due to me cutting my brakes as part of a challenge, and the family I hurt was totally understanding of that.
Now, while the original PS5 claimed to have 8K and only kinda delivered on that promise, the PS5 Pro can actually output 8K resolution to an 8K display. So finally, they're making good on their claims. Only problem is, what kind of person has an 8K display at this moment in time? No, don't pull up Linus Tech Tips! He doesn't count as a person, we know that. But 8K displays have been on the market for a while. It's just that no one's buying them. The clarity that 4K gives you has been more than enough both up close and far away, so TVs and monitors have fully adopted this resolution as the new standard for high definition. The bump in resolution from 4K to 8K is nowhere near as noticeable as 1080p was to 4K. Plus, have you seen the price of 8K displays? It'd be more useful to invest that money in a number on a roulette wheel than to get one of these things.
Yep, just did that and lost my kid's college fund.
You think the monitor is still a waste?
I'll take a few more rounds and I can get my money back from this gangly fuck.
It's just so much money to invest, and you can't even do high refresh rates in this mode due to bandwidth limitations on HDMI cables. That kind of information just can't travel in that large of quantities through the cable, leaving you having to sacrifice one or the other. And if I'm being honest, I think more people would want to have a higher refresh rate. Give TV manufacturers a reason to natively have 120 Hz instead of having AI smooth the motion. My God, turn it off, Grandma! A higher refresh rate is just smoother to the eyes. It feels very immersive. Much more immersive than higher resolutions could ever be, as the motion becomes more realistic while the graphics basically remain unchanged.
And that is due to something called diminishing returns. What this means is that the more you invest into an idea, in this case it's resolution, the less you're gonna see the benefits. So in this case, 4K to 8K is not gonna be as noticeable as 1080p to 4K was. This isn't just happening with the resolution the games are running at though. It also has to do with the actual graphics of the games.
I made a joke earlier about PS5 games being remastered PS4 games that were remastered PS3 games, and ironically, that kind of proves my point within the graphics department. What did the comparisons in the state of play show us other than that these games look the exact same? I genuinely cannot see the differences in quality between these two. And I know there's gonna be someone in the comments telling me that there is a difference if I look very closely at the details. But that's the thing, a general consumer is not gonna be paying attention to the details. They're gonna look at the bigger picture, and the bigger picture looks the fucking same! This combined with the fact they're using really manipulative tactics in these showcases. In 2 of these comparisons, they're using performance mode to compare graphics. Performance mode on PS5 inherently looks worse to give you better frames per second. Why would you use that to compare graphics? It's because when they do use fidelity mode in these other games where the graphics look better, they look the same as the PS5 Pro. You see it in the comparisons that they show. Yeah, the frame rate might be less, but it still looks great. And even if you do care about frame rate, the performance mode in the comparisons that they show don't look all too different. Having to zoom in to show your comparisons doesn't make a compelling argument as to why I should get it. It just tells me that these differences aren't noticeable enough for me to realize when I'm playing the game. And I know Marvel's Spider-Man 2 was never on the PS4, but it was built off of a game that was. So it's even more egregious and frustrating when you're showing off a game that was built off of an engine that was 2 generations behind. Using the fucking Last of Us again? Oh, just get new material. Oh. Sure, objects in the background are sharper, which never really mattered in my opinion, and art direction is likely to take a shotgun to the face because of the new power. I actually prefer the original PS5 version in the screenshot.
It feels like corporate has asked me to find the differences between 2 images, except they gave me the exact same photo. Fundamentally, how do these differences improve my gaming experience? How do they make the games even better? Because so far, I haven't seen anything that would give me reason to buy the Pro model. Heck, I don't even own a PS5!
This leads me to my next point. The PS5 Pro model is going to inherit the same issues that the current PS5 has. You can still count on 2 hands how many exclusives there are for this thing, and that number only goes down thanks to the failing games and PC ports. Fuck, one of the reasons why I even wanted to get a PS5 was for Spider-Man 2, a game that has a PC port that has leaked online the minute it came out, and guess what? It plays just as good as the PS5 version. Why would I even buy this thing if there's no games for it? I have other consoles I could play said games on. Half the fucking games they showcased are remastered remakes of games that were 2 generations old. Be fucking for real.
And when games finally do come out for this thing, it's not gonna be fully optimized for the Pro model because the base PS5 still exists. The power of the Pro model is going to be held back because there's still a huge install base on that base PS5. This is the same problem that modern gaming has in general because the PS4 still has a huge install base and games are being made for the Switch, which is such lower tier hardware, it's easier to port up than to port down. And let's be honest here, if anyone does have an existing PS5, they're not gonna upgrade to the Pro model unless it's to flex an overpriced paperweight.
All of this, and I haven't even mentioned the price of the thing. You have $700 for the base model, $80 for the disc drive, and $30 for the stand that is not included. So for the full functional model, it's, are you shitting me? Oh yeah, like that makes it any better. You know, for the same price as this thing, you can get better options, like a PC that could run games and do more than just gaming. Or for even less money, you can get a Steam Deck or an ROG Ally that benefits with portability and you can still play most games on it. Or if you don't want a PC, you can get a Switch that has a lot of games if you don't care about graphics. But if you do and don't want the portability, you can also just buy the base PS5 and a few games with it, giving you the same functionality, majority of the same features, and the same amount of games for the system.
No matter how much money Geoff was paid to justify this thing's existence, it doesn't deny the fact that you can get a similar experience for so much less money. It brings into question, who is this really for? Who's gonna want to upgrade to this thing for practically the same experience? Who's gonna want to buy this thing when the base PS5 is much cheaper? Who is gonna look at this and think it's a good deal? Oh, it's for idiots like me.
The people who love having shit for the sake of having shit. PlayStation announced a 30th anniversary of their consoles, and they look really good. I have to say, I'm considering getting a base PS5 in this edition, but I find it really interesting that they announced this anniversary edition right after the PS5 Pro's announcement. Like, was this planned? Because now if you're a collector, this limited edition console becomes so much more enticing. That is the point of limited edition consoles in the first place, but there's also a market that I feel will be affected and more willing to buy this type of console.
And in a way, I kind of understand them. I mean, I do know what it's like to enjoy the products made by a certain company and using my wallet to support the decisions and products that I personally like. However, it starts to become an issue when being a brand loyalist begins to blind you.
Brand loyalty and enthusiasm is not a terrible thing at all. However, when a company pushes the consumer in a test of that loyalty, it's important to take a step back and ask the question, is this something I need? And furthermore, will this even benefit me? Of course, there are going to be people who buy this console out of the love for Sony and PlayStation. I've done that exact thing with Nintendo, and if they find joy in that, then that's all for the merrier. But I can't shake the fact that this console has no benefits, and it's all for the reasons I stated earlier. It's not technologically impressive. It lacks content that is exclusive to it, and its price is completely unjustified. And it's for those reasons I feel like this console is a total scam.
And it's getting disappointing that newer tech has just started to feel like this. Not just consoles, but everyday devices like phones. Technology is hitting a plateau, and we're only starting to see the effects of it. Every year, new tech products are coming out to outdo last year's model just for the results to be one and the same. As consumers, it's important now more than ever that we need to expect more than just upgrades, more than just new technology that doesn't serve more purpose. I really do think that after the failure of Condor and the success of Astrobot that we're going to see a big shift in how Sony creates their content, striving more for quality rather than spectacle, but only time will really tell. So in the meantime, let's just focus on what's important, enjoying what we have and not taking that for granted. Oh my god, the USB-C cable mimics the old PlayStation 1 wire. Ow, fuck, I hit my thumb in the wrong fucking spot.